Dear students, after studying this unit, you should be able to discuss the meaning and concept of SWOT analysis as a project management tool. Also, you should be able to understand the concept of Gantt and milestone charts and their use as project management tools. You know, project planning and implementation involves decision making related to a number of interrelated time-bound project activities. Development professionals therefore often depends on tools and techniques that are effective enough not only for drawing up the best possible initial plan but also capable of projecting instantaneously the impact of deviations so as to initiate necessary corrective measures. The search for an effective tool has resulted in development of a variety of project formulation and management techniques. These techniques can be classified under different headings like SWOT analysis, bar charts, and networks. In this module, we will discuss the meaning, concept, characteristics, advantages, and limitations of SWOT analysis and bar charts. Let us discuss first the SWOT analysis. The origin of the SWOT analysis technique is credited by Albert Humphrey, who led a research project at Stanford University in the early 1960s. The goal was to identify why corporate planning failed. The resulting research identified a number of key areas, and the tool used to explore each of the critical areas was called initially as SOFT analysis. S-O-F-T, SOFT analysis. Humphrey and the original research team used the categories: what is good in the present is satisfactory, good in the future is as an opportunity, bad in the present is a fault, and bad in the future is a threat. Later this concept was further practiced and evolved as SWOT analysis. So students, from SOFT, soft analysis, to SWOT analysis. Dear students, factors internal to the system are called strengths and weaknesses, and factors external to the system are opportunities and threats, and such an overall analysis of the strategic environment is referred to as SWOT analysis. As a project management tool, SWOT analysis provides information that is helpful in matching the resources and capabilities to the competitive environment in which any development project operates. We have seen how SWOT analysis, the term, evolved. Now let us discuss briefly how SWOT as a project management tool can be used. SWOT is a strategic planning tool used to evaluate the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats to a project. It involves specifying the objective of the project and identifying the internal and external factors that are either favorable or unfavorable to achieving that project objective. The strengths and weaknesses usually are from within the organization, and opportunities and threats are usually the external sources. Let us briefly discuss what these strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats are there. Strengths. Strengths are the attributes of the organization that help achieve the project objective. Examples includes track record of the organization in completing similar projects. For example, similar successes in the past. Then the resource availability, the skills available with different project team, processes and systems, reputation, and so on and so forth. These are some of the examples for strengths of an organization in executing the project. Then what are the weaknesses? Weaknesses are the attributes of the organization that stop achievement of the project objective. Then what are the examples for weaknesses? Gaps in the knowledge and expertise, it could be a weakness. Time scale and deadlines, budget and funding. These are some of the weaknesses. Then what are the opportunities? Opportunities are the external conditions that help achieve the project objective. Examples includes the technology available, infrastructure available for completing the project objectives, changing consumer behavior, emerging and developing markets, and new innovations in research and development, market demand, and so on and so forth. Then what are the threats? Threats are the outside conditions that could damage the project. Example, political influences, environmental factors, competitors' activities, economy, seasonal effects, and so on. Therefore, SWOT analysis for project management is simple but effective process. It allows the project manager to identify areas that needs improvement. By implementing the correct methodologies for the analysis, it is possible to ensure that a project will be completed on time and within the budget, because these two are the major resources. Time is a resource and money is a resource. SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. This we understood. The use of SWOT analysis lets the project manager to improve the whole project or individual task within the project where better efficiency can be gained. It also mitigates the risk associated with the task and optimizes the whole processes. The team members get to do more with less. Because of the nature of the analysis, it is important to conduct the SWOT analysis during the startup phase. It provides a solid backbone to the project plan. Then coming to the methodology of conducting the SWOT analysis. How to conduct the SWOT analysis? SWOT analysis can be conducted either at the initial or middle phase of the project. However, it is important to have a clear objective during SWOT analysis sessions. If the analysis is done during the initial startup phase, key members must come together and identify all required tasks and the potential risk to each step of the project. If SWOT analysis is done at the middle of the project, the main focus is usually to reassess the schedule, the budget, or to conduct a cost or benefit analysis of certain processes. The common questions to be asked in SWOT analysis are very important. Let us discuss briefly, when we are conducting SWOT analysis, what should be the common questions to be asked. Coming to the strengths, we need to ask, does the organization have all the necessary talent in-house? Is the budget sufficient to complete all the tasks involved? What are the benefits of completing the project? Has the project manager handled similar projects in the past? How experienced are the team members? These are some of the questions that we ask pertaining to strengths. Coming to the weaknesses, we can ask, does the organization have the resources to provide contingency funding? If the team does not have all the necessary skills, what areas need to be outsourced? Is the schedule realistic? What are the potential drawbacks of the project? These are some of the questions that we need to ask to elicit the weaknesses. Coming to the opportunities, will this project take advantage of competitor weaknesses? What are the latest trends in the industry? Are there new technologies that the organization should be aware of? Can this project help in different areas of business? These are some of the questions that we need to ask related to opportunities. Then related to threats, are the team members difficult to replace? Has the new technology, if it will be applied, been tested? Could changing trend affect the project? Can the capability be copied by competitors? These are the some of the questions that we need to ask when we are conducting the SWOT analysis. Dear students, let us discuss briefly the advantages and disadvantages of the SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis helps in identifying basic information for project planning and management. It also assembles project strengths and weaknesses, maximize opportunities, and overcome the threats. It also helps in identifying core competencies of the project team and setting off project objectives. SWOT analysis provide information that helps in synchronizing the project resources and capabilities with the competitive environment in which the project operates. What are the disadvantages of SWOT? Categorizing aspects as strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats might be very subjective. SWOT analysis stresses upon the significance of SWOT aspects, but it does not tell how an organization can identify these aspects for itself. Government legislation and economic environment related problems may also sometimes create problems. SWOT analysis presents list uncritically and without clear prioritization. So, for example, weak opportunities may appear to balance strong threats. Usually, SWOT analysis present a simple list and not critically the issues are presented. Dear students, to check your progress, please take the notes and then try to do some smart exercise. What you need to do is ask some of your colleagues what they mean by SWOT analysis. Compare their views with the one that we are discussing in this module and identify the common features and write down. You can also do another small exercise and by self-checking, do you agree that SWOT analysis is useful for project management? If so, you write your answer to support your viewpoint. There is one more activity if you want to do. Identify a project and project objectives. Write 2 attributes on strengths, 2 on weaknesses, 2 on opportunities and 2 on threats related to the identified project objective in the grid given in your module. So, you divide your paper into 4 parts: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats, 2 issues. This forms the SWOT grid. Dear students, we discussed about the SWOT analysis. The next management tool is bar charts. Bar charts are the pictorial representation of various tasks required to be performed for accomplishment of a project objective. Bar charts formed the basis of development of many other project management techniques, and basically there are 2 main bar charts. One is a Gantt chart, another is a milestone chart. Let us discuss briefly the Gantt chart. A Gantt chart is a type of bar chart that illustrates a project schedule. For scheduling and reporting about the progress of the projects, first Henry Grant developed the system of bar charts in 1917. These charts later were named after him as Gantt charts. Although now regarded as a common charting technique, Gantt charts when developed, when they were introduced, they were revolutionary. For your understanding, a Gantt chart showing the task of 12 months duration survey project is depicted like this. You can draw 12 months and duration in months, and then you can list out the task to complete a project. For example, Gantt chart showing the task of 12 months during a survey project. The task can be divided into literature collection and theoretical orientation, identification of study area and selection of respondents, interview schedule preparation, pre-testing of interview schedule and modifications, data collection, statistical treatment and analysis of data, and report writing. In the next column, we will put duration, maybe in days, weeks or months. So, we will put up in months. For example, the first task takes 2 months time, second task takes 2 months time, third 1 month, and accordingly 1 month, 2 months, 3 months you need to put up. Then on the right hand side, 1 to 12 months you need to indicate the bar. When 2 months are there, you put up 2 bars, and when 4 months are there, you need to write 4 bars. Accordingly, as per the duration of the task, we can fill the 12 columns. And one important concept here is concurrent task or the concurrent activities. Concurrent activities, the time duration of the concurrent activities to complete the concurrent task is maybe the same. For example, the task 1, literature collection and theoretical orientation, it takes 2 months time. Identification of study area, it takes 2 months time. If you add up this 2 months and 2 months, it will come to 4 months. But when you do these two activities concurrently, you can complete both the activities in 2 months time, not in 4 months time. Then we can call this activity 1 and 2 as concurrent activities. The more the concurrent activities in a project, the less the time the project takes. Let us discuss briefly the characteristics of Gantt charts. Gantt charts specify the start and finish time for various tasks on a horizontal time scale. Tasks are indicated by means of a bar, preferably at equidistance in the vertical axis, and time is plotted in the horizontal axis. Gantt chart illustrates the start and finish dates of the terminal elements and summary elements of a project. Terminal elements and summary elements comprise the work breakdown structure of the project. Some Gantt charts also show the dependency relationship between the activities. For example, in the Gantt chart, unless task 3 is completed, task 4 cannot start. For example, unless interview schedule is prepared, we cannot go for the data collection. Then the length of the bar indicates required time for the task, whereas the width has no significance. Let us discuss briefly the advantages of Gantt charts. Gantt charts have become a common technique for representing the phases and activities of a project work breakdown structure so that they can be understood by a wide audience. Gantt charts are useful and valuable for small projects that fit on a single sheet or a screen. There are limitations of Gantt charts. Though the bar charts is comprehensive, convenient and very effective, it has few limitations. Like many other graphical techniques, they are often difficult to handle large number of tasks of a complex project. If it is a simple project, you can handle through Gantt chart. If it is a complex project, it is difficult. Gantt chart can become quite unwindly for projects with more than 30 activities. Larger Gantt charts may not be suitable for most computer displays. A related criticism is that Gantt chart communicate relatively little information per unit area of display. That is, projects are often considerably more complex than can be communicated effectively with a Gantt chart. Gantt chart does not indicate the interrelationship between the tasks. That is, if one activity overruns time, what would be the impact on project completion? For example, interview schedule preparation is delayed. What is the impact on data collection? Gantt chart will not tell. Gantt charts only represent part of the triple constraints of projects because they focus primarily on schedule management. Moreover, Gantt chart do not represent the size of a project or the relative size of work elements. Therefore, the magnitude of a behind schedule condition is easily miscommunicated. If two projects are the same number of days behind schedule, the larger project has a larger impact on resource utilization, yet the Gantt chart does not represent this difference. This is a limitation. Although project management software can show schedule dependencies as lines between activities, displaying a large number of dependencies may result in a cluttered or unreadable chart. This is also a limitation. Because the horizontal bars of a Gantt chart have a fixed height, they can misrepresent the time-phased workload, that is, the resource requirements of a project. In the example that we discussed previously, the tasks 6 and 7 appear to be of the same size, but in relatively they may be orders of magnitude different. A related criticism is that all activities of a Gantt chart show planned workload as constant. In practice, many activities, especially summary elements, have front-loaded or back-loaded work plans, so a Gantt chart with present complete shading may actually miscommunicate the true schedule performance status. These are some of the deficiencies of the Gantt charts. In order to address these deficiencies, an improved version of Gantt chart came. We call it as milestone chart. Let us discuss briefly what is milestone chart. Milestone chart is an improvement over the Gantt chart by introducing the concept of milestone. The milestone represented by a small triangle over a task in the bar chart indicates completion of a specific phase of the task. For example, pre-testing of interview schedule and modification, that is the task 4 that we discussed in the Gantt chart. It includes two concepts. One is pre-testing of interview schedule, that takes about 3 weeks time, and modification of interview schedule based on the pre-testing experience, that takes 1 week. From the simple Gantt chart, it is difficult to monitor progress of the task 4, but introduction of a milestone at the end of 3rd week and 4th week would specify the pre-testing would be completed in 3 weeks time and modification in interview schedule would be completed in 1 week time. This is the figure showing the milestone chart. When you see the pre-testing of interview schedule, it is completing by 3rd week and necessary modifications we are completing in 4th week. Coming to the characteristics of milestone. In a milestone chart, a task is broken down into specific phases. These specific phases we call it as activities. After accomplishment of each of the specific activity, a milestone is reached, or in other words, an event occurs. The chart also shows the sequential relationship among the milestones or events within the same task, but not the relationship among the milestones contained in the different tasks. For example, in the previous example, the milestone 2 of task cannot be reached until the milestone 1 is crossed and the activity between milestone 1 and 2 is over. Coming to the advantages of milestone chart. A milestone chart, it depicts key events along a time scale. It indicates completion time of a key event in a task. Milestone charts are useful for top level reporting, so management does not become bogged down in the minute details of the project. Of course, there are some limitations of milestone chart. The relationship between the milestones in different tasks are not clear in the milestone chart. It does not show interdependencies between tasks. It does not indicate the critical activities, and it does not consider the concept of uncertainty in accomplishing the task. And it is very cumbersome to draw the chart for large projects. Dear students, just to check your progress again, do small activity. Ask some of your colleagues what they mean by bar charts. Compare their views with the ones that are discussed in this module and identify the common features. Write them on the piece of paper or in the printed material supplied to you. Also, do you agree that the bar charts are useful for project management? Support your answer and write briefly. The last one is write 2 advantages of Gantt charts and 2 advantages of milestone chart. For your understanding and practice, let us do an activity. Draw a Gantt chart for the project activities which comprising of 7 project activities and with fixed time schedules as given in the modules. Draw the Gantt chart for the activities and compare it with the one given in the module. Dear students, in the summary, in this unit, we started by looking into the history, meaning, and how SWOT analysis is useful as a project management tool. Later, we also discussed how to conduct SWOT analysis, common questions to be asked, merits and demerits of SWOT analysis. In the second half of the module, we discussed meaning and concept of bar charts, Gantt charts and milestone charts along with their advantages and limitations as a project management